I'm going to start my winter sowing, and I'm going to be using that cocoa coir and that seed starting mix that I mixed up in this bucket, remember? So I have already put all my soil into my containers, but I wanted to show you for the ones that have never done winter sowing before. You can use any kind of a container. This is just an orange juice container. I'm using water bottle containers. I got a milk jug over here. So whatever containers that you have, they will work just fine. So this is how you get started. All you need is a container, and then I'm going to show you how to cut it so you'll know exactly what I'm doing. So I'm just taking the knife, well I should say my scissors right here, and I'm just going to cut around the container. And I'm going to go to where I first started cutting it. So this is where I first started cutting it, and I'm right here. So I don't want to cut it all the way because I want to be able to make a hinge like this. Just like this. And then you're going to want to put some dirt in it. So let me show you about how to put the dirt in there. Hold on, let me bring you down. Alright, so you have your hinge like this, and also it's important to put drainage holes in the bottom of your containers. So if you don't know how to do that, I usually just take my scissors and I usually just make holes in them, or I take a knife, or you can use a soldering iron, whatever you need to do. And then after you put the holes in the bottom, then you just fill it up with some of your soil. Okay, there so you guys can see. Let's put some soil in it. I put enough to cover the bottom and a little bit up on the sides. So, because you want to have enough room for your plants to grow. So I never fill my container all the way to the top. I just fill it like halfway, just like that. Can you guys see how much dirt I put in there? And how much it is on the side? And then I decide what I'm going to put in there. But what I did before I put all my seeds in, I make a list of all the things that I'm going to be winter sowing. And then this time I have 15 things I'm going to be winter sowing. So I need 15 containers. And so the number one is onions. So on my little homemade tags that I made out of my milk jugs, I have number one at the top. And then I have Walla Walla onions. So I'll know that this is what's going in there. And what I do is I put my seeds in there, and then I put some more dirt on the top, and then I put my little ticket on the side, so it looks like that. So let me do the first one with you. Let's do it together, you guys. So I know that one is my Walla Walla onions. So I'm going to take my onions out of my bag. I'm going to put some in my hand. And these seeds are pretty nice size seeds. I see those? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, I always use a pencil. I don't have my chopstick like I normally do. And I am just going to make some little holes all around this container. And then I'm just going to drop one of these seeds, if I can, in each one of those holes. Stick them in there. And if they don't go in the hole, I just knock them in the hole. And I'm going to be planting another container of this Walla Walla onions, because like I said, your girl wants a whole lot of onions. Alright, so that's what I'm going to do with those. And then I just cover them up with some soil, or you can take a little bit more of the soil that you have and just sprinkle it around on the top. You guys see that? Sprinkle it around on the top, and then you close it up. Make sure you got the tag in there, and you're gonna close it up. And then here comes the duct tape, because you're gonna need some good duct tape. And I went to the DT store and I brought some duct tape. So I'm gonna get some of this duct tape. Get your duct tape, but before you close it up, make sure you have a nice little bottle and spritz your seeds so they'll be nice and wet. Give them a good little start. I always say a little prayer over them. And then I close that bad boy up. And then I take that duct tape and I put it right around the seam where you cut it, so we can close it up. See what I'm doing? And I just take another piece of duct tape and start where I left off. And sometimes it'll go on easy and sometimes it won't. So you got to just manipulate it to where it will fit on there nicely. I just put some more tape on there. Yeah, make sure you have some good pair of scissors. And just close it on up. And then I also, too, take my marker and I put the number 1 on here so I know this is container number 1. And you can also write Walla Walla onions on the container, because sometimes the tags that you have in there, they may fade. So you can put Walla Walla onions on there, number 1. And then when I look in there, you can also see that it's number 1 and it says number 1 and then the Walla Walla onions on there as well. So there you go. And you need to take the tops off of your containers, because that's where your rainwater, and if it's snowing in your area, snow will get in there, and that is what's going to water your seeds in there. So, all right, guys, that's what I'm doing. So let me tell you a little bit about what seeds I'm going to be planting in some of my containers, my 14 containers now that I'm already done. So don't forget, if you have a milk jug, you can turn that milk jug into your labels. See? Repurpose and reuse. Remember, Miss Renee's always telling you, repurpose, reuse. So I am going to be doing some oregano. I'm going to be doing some bunching onions. And I'm going to be doing some Russian kale. This is with the package. That's what it is, Russian kale. I'm going to do these types of onions. I ain't playing around with my onions. And then I'm going to do some more Laciano kale. I'm going to do some sage. I'm going to try some cucumbers, because this was my free package. It may be a little too soon, but I'm hoping the warmth of this container will keep my cucumbers nice and cozy in there. And then I'm going to do some marigolds, which I normally just sprinkle the marigolds around in my garden. But this time I'm going to try it as a winter sowing and see how that does. Then the flowers I'm going to do some Sweet William. I'm going to do some snapdragons. Do some zinnia, which you can sprinkle zinnias around too, and they will do just fine. But I'm going to try and see how they do in the winter sowing. And then this one is bachelor buttons. Love these flowers. They're so colorful. They look like little baby carnations. And then I'm going to do some pansies. Isn't that beautiful? I think that's going to be gorgeous. So that's what Miss Renee's going to be working on, sitting out here in my backyard. It was nice and sunny, but child, now it's starting to get a little chilly here. So I have 14 more containers to do. And when I get them all done, then I'll come back and I'll show you. And I'm just going to sit mine. Good placement is you can either put them in a grouping somewhere in a corner. I'm going to stick all my containers on my table, my as you come out into my deck, my little table that I have there, so I can keep an eye on them. Because you know I got that squirrel. His name is Rocky. I talk about him all the time. And that little bandit right there, he will destroy these jars. He'll knock them all over. So I have to keep an eye on my stuff. So it's better if I put it in a location where my eyeballs can see my winter sowing containers, and I also can keep my eye on Rocky. Oh yes, oh yes. Because that squirrel ain't no joke. So the only thing you'll need, remember, you need your containers that you're going to be winter sowing in. You're going to need some duct tape. You're going to need a spray bottle. You're going to definitely need your seeds and some way of labeling. In my case, milk jugs is the way to go. So, and don't forget, put a label inside if you want, like I did mine. Can't see it. There you can. See it? It's in there. Let me know, because you know you're going to get nosy. And you're going to want to be peeping inside here to see if you see any kind of germination. That's the best part. Once you see these little plants start growing, then you know your technique worked. It's either going to be, you're going to see them grow, and don't be concerned if you don't see any germination in your containers, because there's been many a times where I winter sowed and I didn't get any germination, and I didn't get any, like if I planted the pansies, I didn't get no pansies that year. So I had to like just start all over and just put them in a container. So don't get discouraged. Winter sowing is a nice way of planting your seeds and just let Mother Nature do what it do. And if you get good results, celebrate it, be happy about it. If you don't get any germination, don't even let that put you down in the dumps. Just get your packet of seeds, get you some good dirt, or I should say soil, and sprinkle these bad boys in that container or in your garden bed, and cover them up, water them, say a blessing over them, and let it do what it do. Because that's what gardening's all about. We're going to have our successes, and we're going to have our challenges. I'm not going to say fails. I'm going to say challenges, because you can always rise above a challenge. And you know we're good at that as gardeners. All right, guys, let me finish doing the rest of these 14 containers, because, child, I got a lot of containers to do. Look at this. I got a whole bunch of these, like I said, and whatever container you have will work just fine. All right, guys, let me get back to my winter sowing so I can get my stuff a-popping over here. So when springtime comes, I hope that I'll have some Walla Walla onions to take out of this container and put it in my garden bed so I can have me lots and lots of onions. All right, guys, I'll see you in a little bit. Bye-bye. Hang tough. I'll be back. Guys, as you can see, all my winter sowing containers are out here. Got the red Russian kale, got the bachelor buttons, and I use that cocoa core that I got at the $1.25 store. So we will see how this soil medium works for me. If it works well, then I will be using it again for next season. Got my leeks, got my sage, got my pansies, cucumbers, oregano, bunching onions. I have my snapdragons, got my zinnias, the Luciano kale. I got the Amor onions and Sweet William. So they're all out there, and we shall keep an eye on them and see if Rocky bothers them or if I start seeing some sprouts. When I start seeing some sprouts, trust and believe I will come to you and we will discover that surprise together. And in the middle, I have some of those onion sets that I just stuck out here just to see what they would do. So we have 2 experiments going, these onion sets and my winter sowing for this year. All right, you guys, it is so cold out here. Look at my hands. They look like little prunes because it's so cold out here. Look at that. Hands are so wrinkly. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Have a blessed day. And Miss Renee will see you in the next video. All right, guys, take care and trust and believe. Whew, stay warm.